This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, welcome on to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. I am meteorologist Evan Thomason here in the Weather Center. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. One of your questions might be, well, Evan, why are you starting 2 minutes early? Well, I'm starting as early as I could, honestly. We got a lot to get to. That's the reason why I wanted to take an extra 2 minutes. Start just a hair early here on the First Alert Weather Breakdown, mainly because of two reasons. Number one, we have an exciting Met Chat here for you for today, which usually takes up a bulk of the podcast. Today we're talking about weather scams. All four meteorologists are back on here for this upcoming Met Chat here for today. We skipped last week mainly because our schedule just did not work out for all four of us to get together. But we finally all got together yesterday to record a 20-minute recording. And coming up at 11 o'clock, we have KSLA News 12. The Arklatex Artistry podcast is coming up at 11, so we have to skedaddle before then. And because I have a 20-minute podcast coming, that it's got to be shown with this recording here. The point is we got to get going, so I can get going by 11 o'clock. So we're going to go over a quick forecast. Unfortunately, not going to go into as much depth as I want to, but we got to go over this quickly so that we can then get into the full podcast, get into the full recording. So then Arklatex Artistry can start on time. Beautiful. So anyways, that's the game plan here for the day today. So let's get into this forecast before we show you the Met Chat recording coming on up. Live look at our John Harvey Toyota Skycam. Lots happening today, I will say. Snow flurries. Kind of exciting, but not really. It's hard because it's, as you'll see on our radar here coming up, it's hard to see because of how tiny the particles are in the atmosphere. When we had snow flurries flying early this morning, not really flying as much anymore. But our atmosphere is still incredibly saturated as we kind of sit tight with these cloudy conditions throughout the day. Today, you're seeing that on our John Harvey Toyota Skycam. You're also seeing that on our Window World Skycam in Texarkana. First, our Doppler radar. Intriguing note, I didn't really mention this at all. Before we get into local Arklatex on our First Alert Doppler radar, this is an intriguing note. Out toward our west in Dallas, I actually have some lake effect snow. That's exactly what that is. That is snow that's forming off of the lakes around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And as the air is going southward, it's cooling off incredibly quickly to lead us to snow showers just south of the lakes there. So a usual weather phenomenon, honestly, for that area. That area usually never gets lake effect snow. Meanwhile, First Alert Doppler radar here in the Arklatex, you can see maybe, look at that. There's maybe a tiny snow flurry there. See that tiny dot right there? One or two of them? You get the point. This has been our radar picture the whole day today. It's a complete blank sheet except for one or two of these tiny snow dots. That's giving us a brief shot of some snow flurries around the Arklatex underneath this saturated atmosphere. But overall, we're not getting much. We're not getting much at all here for the day today. All of us are below freezing, so if you're getting any precipitation, it's most likely snow. As we're hanging on to temperatures mostly in the upper 20s. Feels like temperatures are down in the teens. I will say it has gotten colder from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., which usually doesn't happen because the sun usually rises, but we continue to bring in the peak of our Arctic cold air into the Arklatex with 6 is the feels like temperature in Idabel and Mount Pleasant, 15 in Texarkana and Shreveport. So you're going to need to bundle up in throughout the day today. And this is something that does not just last in throughout the day today. This goes all the way for the rest of the work week until Friday. We finally start warming up a lot more into next week. So those of you looking forward to more comfortable feels like temperatures and more comfortable t-shirt and shorts type weather, you can look forward to that after the struggle of highs only reaching the 30s today. 36 in Texarkana, 33 in Foreman. In East Texas, 35 in Marshall, 38 for Nacogdoches, 35 in Shreveport today, 38 in Nacogdoches. Again, I'm going over this a little more quickly than normal because we got to get to a long Met Chat recording. All four meteorologists are on that Met Chat recording here coming on up. Just want to hype that up one more time because I know some people just mostly look forward to that recording every single week on the First Alert with a breakdown. Morning temperatures tomorrow are going to be the coldest of the entire stretch upcoming. Look at these feels like temperatures for tomorrow. If you thought it couldn't get colder, think again. We have feels like temperatures stretching down into the single digits. Widespread here for tomorrow morning. It's going to be impressive. Tomorrow afternoon, it doesn't get that much warmer. We finally start, in quotes, to warm up on Friday with feels like temperatures only reaching into the teens then, but Still, regardless, our bitter cold Arctic air remains trapped in here until the weekend. The weekend is when we warm up. So we have a cold weather advisory actually issued by the National Weather Service in effect for tonight and tomorrow morning for that cold air. As for the skies, it remains cloudy for the rest of today. We start getting a lot more sunshine briefly out for tomorrow before cloud cover does return on for Friday. And that kind of leads us into our next chance of rain, which we'll see here on this long-term future track. We'll see a system coming out of the Gulf, which could extend all the way into the Arctic, although I will say we're expecting greater chances of rain in for the southern half of the Arctic compared to the northern half. As there's weather models such as this one that aren't too convincing, I guess, on our chance of rain here for the weekend, which is a good thing. But if there's any chance of rain for the Arctic here between Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning, it would be for the southern half of the Arctic. Some of that could creep into Shreveport as well. That's why we have a slim chance of rain here on Saturday with the crew of Centaur that'll be rolling on through. Temperatures, if you notice, still staying pretty chilly, at least for Saturday. Our biggest warm-up days are going to be on for Sunday and Monday. 59 is the high on Sunday, an 11-degree temperature warm-up in between Saturday and Sunday. Just got to watch out for that slim chance of rain. And lastly, 7-day forecast here. It's a warm-up throughout the entire next 7 days. Again, today is the coldest day. Tomorrow morning is the coldest morning. Then highs warm up. 37 on Thursday. It's going to be a slow warm-up, to be fair, for the rest of the week. 43 on Friday, 48 on Saturday. Biggest two warm-up days upcoming are going to be definitely Sunday and Monday. Highs up to 76 degrees on Tuesday. Only chance of rain we're really watching out for is that little system coming in between Saturday night and Sunday morning. I was looking at your full weather forecast. Again, I'm sorry I had to go through that so quickly, but we have a Met Chat to go to and to check out. That's going to last 20 minutes, and then at 11 o'clock, immediately following this Met Chat, we will have Article Text Artistry coming up at 11 o'clock on the KSLA.com live stream. As for the Met Chat, enjoy. We're talking about weather scams, misinformation, things you can't really trust sometimes out there on the, you can never really trust anything on the internet. I'll explain everything coming up in this Met Chat, which will start right now with all four meteorologists. Enjoy me, CJ Cartledge, Austin Evans, and Matt Jones. I'll see you after this. Hey, welcome on to the First Alert Weather Breakdown Met Chat. I am meteorologist Evan Thomason, joined by Austin Evans, Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones, and also CJ Cartledge. Good morning, guys. First of all, we were out last week. Plans just didn't work out, but this is why I say it's always a kind of an honor to have all four of us here at one place once a week, because sometimes it just doesn't work out. So great to have y'all back for the first time in 2 weeks, so to speak, and just in time before bitter cold temperatures hit over the next couple of days. I'm a fan. I'm personally a fan. Before I get to sweating temperatures again, I'm a fan. I'm
Not
looking forward to
at
how
all.
cold it will get.
Yeah.
While Matt is spitting in the air.
I hate the weather. I despise it. So, but that's just me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're talking about here for the day today is misinformation. And essentially what that topic entails is there's obviously in the new day and age of social media, anybody can go out there and claim to have a forecast, so to speak. And first of all, we hope that you trust all four of us here at KSLA News 12 with accurate weather forecast. But I understand if you got to go, I understand there's plenty of other weather sources out there. Good amount of them are still legitimate. Let me get that first and foremost out. National Weather Service, amazing tool. There's so many other people that help out in the weather community too, which are great. But there's also some people who, let's just say, go too far, too beyond out into the unknown, claiming some things. So essentially what we're going to do here today is kind of decipher between what to count as true and what to kind of criticize and have a good mind about, so to speak. So if anybody wants to take the reins on like one thing to look out for when you kind of see like a sketchy weather post, what one thing should our viewers, I guess, like look out for in order to decipher if it's true, or should I question its legitimacy?
Well, I mean, I'll just get it started. Like, before I even answer that question, it's really become a challenge I'd say like the last couple years. It's really bad. I mean, you'll go on social media on Facebook, and there's so many wannabe meteorologists out there. I've never seen anything like it. In fact, I think I've noticed it getting worse really just this past couple winters. especially during the winter season. I mean, severe weather too, but really during the winter, you see a lot of like doomsday forecasts and things like that, like 2 weeks out and 3 weeks out. And it's really hard. I mean, I can understand like for the general public, it's really hard to figure out what's going on because there's so many wannabe meteorologists out there. There's kids, like high schoolers that are out there like with their weather pages and YouTube pages that have probably triple the amount of followers that all of us have combined. It's insane, you know.
Um,
Hmm.
in terms of things to look out for, we'll talk like say pictures right now, maps and whatnot. If that map does not have at the top or the bottom, something along the lines of GFS with the date and say 18Z, which is weather speak. That's Zulu time. It's based out of the GMT, and that's a it's not really important, but you need to look for it, and then you'll see something to the tune of out forecast hour, number out of say for the GFS like 380 or something. If you don't see that line of information, disregard it entirely because that data tells you when that model run was made. It tells you the hour it's showing, and amongst other information. Also, you'll need what that map is showing. Is it snow accumulation over? Is it total snow accumulation for that model run? That's a type of statistic that you can see. Or is it total snow accumulation for 24 hours? Because then that would be 24 hours inside a model run. So if you don't see any of that information, and I know looking for numbers and looking for uh, information rather than strict, I need to know what the snow's going to do. Look for the data that tells you if that data is good or not. If you don't see any of that, disregard it completely. And I know those snow pages on Facebook purposely hide that information because they don't want you to see it. And I see it all the time because we got this new algorithm gimmick that's given, whatever it wants to you essentially. That on top of, buzzwords, catastrophic, polar vortex, uh, huge snowfall, those words that we never use for the record. If you see those in the posts, you can pretty much disregard that too, because
Hmm.
they're putting those words in for engagement. They're not putting them in to inform you, they're putting them in to get your eyeballs to look at it.
Hmm.
Yeah, just bouncing off what
Hmm.
Austin said, most posts these days are done for clicks and not so much for providing accurate weather information. I saw one about the snow accumulation that was possible for this past system on Saturday for the northern United States, and they posted like a weather model with the same text that Austin was talking about in the top left hand corner, I believe, with the date and the Zulu time and the forecast hour. The model run was from 2011, talking about that storm. So
What?
people purposely, yes, it was from 2011, talking about a storm 14 years later,
Oh my
and
I
they
was
gosh.
they
a
do that on purpose.
sophomore in high school.
Yeah,
Oh,
2011. Oh
I
my
didn't know.
gosh.
I knew they were egregious. I didn't know they were that egregious. And
Oh
and that was
man.
and that's something you might have noticed late last week. I started getting on my feed, and I don't follow a whole lot of meteorologists across the country. I don't need that information. I follow local meteorologists around here because that information is pertinent to what I do, and maybe one or two others that I like what they do, like Katie Nicolau. I follow her, but I a lot of meteorologists were showing up on my feed talking about this winter storm for the Ohio Valley coming up because whatever whatever algorithm got put into place started pushing that out to, I guess, everyone,
Yeah.
for it to show up on mine. So
Yeah. No, I mean,
wow,
I agree.
2011.
Like, pretty much what Austin said, or Austin and CJ and Evan, like just we'll look out for certain things like big word, like dramatic words, like Austin said, biggest snowstorm ever, like, you know, gonna be buried in snow or coldest air ever, like stuff like that. Just don't believe it. And also, yes, look for the timestamp on there. And I will say, Facebook is a big, big problem. I don't know what is going on with Facebook these days, but I have like it's awful. On my feed, I'm seeing posts from January 15th from this winter storm we had back in mid-January. That's all I'm seeing. And then it's like you'll see tornado warnings that were issued a month ago circulating on it's really bad. So just
That's why
watch
I
out, really
always
keep an eye
delete
out.
those.
Yeah, keep an eye out.
If you ever go back to my page and like for whatever reason needed to find a warning from the past, you're probably not going to find it. I delete them
That's
pretty quickly after they're
yeah.
issued because of that problem.
Yeah, because a lot of us have the automated warnings on our pages. And so if y'all haven't done it yet, once the severe weather event has ended, make sure and delete those warnings because they'll circulate on your page and on social media for a long time. So delete them.
Thank you for letting me know that.
Yep.
Wow. The more you know. See, even we learned something new of value here to this Met chat here locally. I guess another thing to reiterate, one of the biggest things for me is obviously the long-term feature. CJ just mentioned 14 years is a little outrageous, but more commonly, I'll see people trying to forecast like 2 and 3 weeks out with like nailing specific things, like specific snowfall totals, and this storm will have like the greatest winds ever, and oh my gosh, we could have a tornado outbreak, major tornado outbreak. Like that's if I called a major tornado outbreak on like March 4th. Like March 4th is relatively still kind of close to us, but usually you can't nail specifics down until it's like a week away or below that. So because things change.
And when it comes to tornado stuff, you can't forecast that.
You can't
3
forecast a
hours
tornado.
in advance.
Right.
No.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
rough. It is rough out there. But there's been some infamous weather videos that I'm gonna be honest, I've made fun of for doing that kind of forecasting because it's like all it is hype. All it is hype.
It's
But
hype.
there's no actual, the hype isn't leading up into anything.
Yeah, it's bad.
There are, and I don't know, I won't name anyone in specific, but there's a couple of pretty famous meteorologists that over the years have gone from I respect this person and they do good work to they've become everything that they claimed to hate. Back in the day, they just become a hype man because they likely, you know, gather their income from that hype. And it's a dirty tactic. It's dirty meteorology. I like to joke around every now and again and like pull up a random model and I'll say in the weather center, I'm about to do some bad meteorology, and I'm looking out ahead to see what the models are feeling. I'm not forecasting. We don't forecast 2 weeks out. The 12-day forecast is automated.
Yep, it is.
To pull back the curtain a little bit, even that's a little far, but it works because we're 12 and it's a 12-day forecast, and it's not super egregious like a 20-day. So yeah, we don't do that, and anyone who claims to forecast anything past like 8 days, they're barking up misinformation tree.
Now, having said that, if you see a post from like a resource such as the Climate Prediction Center, if someone posts something for like long range, like Climate Prediction Center, like a map of cooler than average, warmer than average, those you can take. I mean, you can use those. I mean, those are legitimate. But it's the ones that are like specific temperatures, specific amounts of something weeks out. That's the one you got to watch out for.
Even that
those.
Go ahead.
Well, I think you were about to say it. Those climate prediction maps, they say trending above or possibly above or maybe below. Well, I don't think they say that. They don't dumb it down that much, but perchance, they're throwing it out there, and those and again, those climate people are studying the climate, and climate is different from weather. So they're looking at different data than what we look at every single day. They're and they always put in those, superlatives: likely, possible. It's not a guarantee.
It's
Right.
vague.
Hmm.
It's vague language, and it's
Yeah.
purposely vague. Just so it gives you. I even mentioned this on the 12-day forecast when I do it for shows. It's just using it as a good idea. It's a good idea that this is what it's looking like here 2 weeks out. But the thing that I was going to bring up is they do most of their climate prediction stuff for they do it for months in advance, yes, but I'm not even sure if I trust that too much. But most of the stuff that we show here and that Matt talks about in our shows are just for like essentially the second week of the 7-day forecast, if that makes sense. They don't do it beyond 14 days. They think it's trending warmer than average between day 8 and day 14. It doesn't go farther than day 14, is my point. So, again, you
Hmm.
just take things with precaution, especially when it's way long out. So,
Hmm.
anybody else have anything of note? Besides that, I think we covered all of our bases here. Covered.
Yeah, we covered everything without getting into, specifics. Like seasonal outlooks, you can look at NOAA's seasonal outlook and be like, okay, this is what they're thinking for the winter, or whatever. But it's still not. It's an outlook. It's not a forecast. And we can argue. We can discuss until we're blue in the face the Farmer's Almanac. Um, it's the same thing, but less trustworthy, because I know that they probably talk to experts. They would almost have to at this point. Um, but I've still seen some wild predictions in the Farmer's Almanac that did not come true. That
Yeah.
that were just blatantly completely off. Um, so yeah, find your information from trusted sources, and just look out for those weird people. And you're probably gonna get suggested, like, from groups. I
Mhm.
get like uh, Ozarks weather update, like, Facebook groups into my feed, and you can't hide them anymore for some reason. So it's just like, and you might also get weather information from areas that don't pertain to you, and obviously don't look at that either. Know where you are on a map, because if you don't know that and you're looking at a New England map and it's saying 12 feet of snow, a lot even for them. Um, you might get a little bit scared for no reason.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that covers our bases there. Thank you very much for that. And we're going to move on to our question here for the day today. For those of you just joining us for the first time, we always ask a trivia question. This is also a cool thing that was submitted to us by the viewers. They wanted us to do a kind of just a random weather trivia fact or weather trivia question, essentially, for 3 contestants. That's Matt, CJ, and Austin. Um, what's the leaderboard again? I think it's CJ with 1. Austin has 1. Austin got CJ has 2. That's what it was. CJ has
CJ
2.
too.
Matt and Austin both have 1 because Austin got the 1
Mhm.
2 weeks ago.
Hmm.
I remember that. All right, so question for today pertains to the cold temperatures. That's where we're trending in the direction of here for the next 3 days. Not only is the Arklatex having some of its coldest temperatures of the entire winter, but many parts of the country are, especially if you're in the Dakotas, which is where this is stretching down from. Some of the coldest temperatures up near there. So I just did a little research this morning and found out what was the low temperature on Monday morning for Bismarck, North Dakota. What
Mm.
was the Monday morning temperature for Bismarck, North Dakota on Monday morning? It was, just so you know as well, I'll give you a hint. Not only are we facing potential like record low temperatures like with these systems rolling on through, but there's been areas in North Dakota that I read on like an article. There's areas in North Dakota that are threatening their own record low temperatures all the way up there with this system, which is impressive. So
So the low on Monday night in North Dakota.
So the low between Sunday night and the Monday morning. Does that make sense?
And then
Yeah.
Monday morning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
say
mean, I'm gonna like 28 below.
I'll say
Okay.
-10.
-10, CJ? Matt?
I'm gonna say. I'm honestly gonna say -35.
Matt and I were talking about this yesterday.
Were
We
you
were
really
talking about
talking
North
about this
Dakota.
yet?
We were talking about North Dakota and the temperatures.
The wind chill, yeah.
And
Matt got it right on the dot. -35.
I did.
Oh my gosh.
-35 was the actual recorded temperature on Monday morning.
I believe it.
Dang.
They're
I have
recorded
my
like
limits.
their record lows are like negative in the -30s this week. It's ridiculous.
And
And
wind
keep in mind,
chill.
again,
By
this
the
is-
way,
go ahead.
by the way, wind chill up there is gonna be -60. Us and I
Yeah,
were
I
looking at
saw
it.
that as well.
Yep. I've
Negative
lived
You
in
know
that.
that you know the scene in that terrible movie Day After Tomorrow
Where
where
they all
the
freeze to
people
death?
freeze solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend up there at my last station. Shout out to Eric. I have a good friend that was at my last station, and he moved up into North Dakota after his next job. And I keep
Ugh.
sending him a text like every week. I'm like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you sure you're alive?"
Staying
He's like,
warm.
"How
Oh,
warm is it over
God.
there?"
That's awful. I'd take our 100-degree weather any day over that. Ugh.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's insane. That's similar to how we I saw videos of Mount
Still think
Washington,
I'd rather
New
have the cold,
Hampshire.
but
Mount
Yeah.
Washington.
Mount Washington, New
the
Hampshire.
most dangerous National Weather Service office in the country.
Yeah, that's crazy. We should
They
do
saw-
a
have
chat about
blown.
that someday.
Oh my
Ooh,
God.
that'd be cool.
It'd be real fun. People have blown off that mountain.
Let's save it for another chat.
Last thing I want to leave off this chat with is the groundhog was right. The groundhog was right.
Was he?
I knew you were gonna make that reaction. Man.
Was the
We only got
I
like
haven't
2
even.
weeks. 2 weeks of winter. Winter feeling conditions. We the first week after his prediction, we hit the 70s, nearly the 80s, and then we
Yeah.
went to winter.
Hey, he knew.
The
he
groundhog
knew
got
we
CJ's
were up-
possibly gotta go back to
connection.
winter.
He knew
Yeah.
we were up to something. You should also peep at our KSLA News 12 Facebook post today. That was a good one. Good one.
Oh yeah.
I saw that. I thought it was funny.
What did it
I'm not.
say?
I can admit when things are funny, even though I am serious.
By the way, when I reference today is Tuesday, by the way, for us, even though this recording is airing on Wednesday. But anyways, yes, the groundhog was right. Speaking of misinformation, just don't trust the groundhog, but maybe you do in this instance.
I just saw it.
It's
I just saw
wild.
the
This
post.
year Groundhog Day came and went before I realized it. I think I realized it like a day and a half later. It's like I was like, oh, that was then. I got a lot on my mind. Busy.
Oh,
All
man.
right. Thanks for joining us on this Matt Chat. We'll talk to you next time, next week. Have a great rest of your day, and good luck braving those cold temperatures, especially for all the rest of you here, too. All right. Goodbye. Peace out.
Thanks for watching the Met Chat here on KSLA News 12. I got a minute to say goodbye before we go over to Architects Artistry at 11 o'clock. First of all, I wanted to respond to a comment on our YouTube page. Latrina, I can see why my kid enjoyed you all. By the way, we had a Job Shadow coming here last week. It was really cool. Thanks to him for coming to visit. Love to have him back again anytime. Hopefully he's doing well as well. Yeah, I guess that's my only note about that. But yeah, thanks for watching. First Alert with a Breakdown. Thanks for watching the Met Chat again. We'll be back with that next week. For tomorrow, we're back again for First Alert with a Breakdown. We will have an episode talking about the wind. It's going to be it's a big factor of the forecast here locally and for the next 2 days with cold and windy conditions pushing around the Arklatex. We'll talk about the science kind of behind the wind and how it works actually around the country and kind of go into a little more of a science discussion about that here for tomorrow. That's on Thursday, 10:30 on First Alert with a Breakdown. That's when we'll be back. again, good luck braving the cold temperatures. Good luck. For me, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomas, and I'll see you tomorrow at 10:30. Be there, be square, and most importantly, be weather aware. Have a great one. I'll see you tomorrow.